Trash Talk and Gruntworks, and super excited to bring you part two of our three-part series of how to invest your money if you've got money. Now, we're bringing Army veteran Ken back on, and he's going to tell you what to do with your money by going through a scenario with a CPA and myself of what kind of questions you're going to answer and how the system looks. Now, Facebook has a lot of scams, all right, but if you follow Veteran Trash Talk, you know that we're not a scam, and information is power. All you have to do doesn't cost you anything. Scan that QR code right there. I think it's right there, something like that. Yeah, that'll take you to Veteran Trash Talk. Go to the events and say interested in going, all right, to part two of Army veteran Ken and financial security. We'll see you then.
Hey, what's up, Mental Health Nation? Everybody's having a great summer. Welcome to season 4 of the Mental Health Warrior. Lynn, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Cliff. Happy to be here.
Well, nice to have you. I know we had a guest schedule, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Normally, my seasons I started this podcast in December, but I think I'm just going to start changing the seasons to September. It just makes sense after taking the month of August off, which I've totally enjoyed. I'll get into that, but Lynn, you had gotten a guest to come on the show. His name was Chris Pace, and unfortunately, he was in a car accident, and he's recovering from that, so he wasn't able to be on the show. So we'll get him back and get him rescheduled as soon as possible. But hey, listen, you got the QR code up there on the left for Reads Across America. They make sure the reads are on the veterans, grave site during holiday season. I'm part of, Arlington Cemetery in Washington, D.C., so be sure to click on that code. You can donate $5 to ensure that wreath is put on their tombstone during the thing. Along with that, Reads Across America Radio replays my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Super easy to find. You guys hear me talk about it all the time, but you just download your favorite radio app, whether it's iHeartRadio, TuneIn app, or Odyssey app, and search for Reads Across America Radio. But September is Suicide Awareness Month, and if you go onto my website right now, 5 minutes before the show started, I reduced the price of my book to $15.99, so you can go on and order it. I will sign it and get it sent out to you. The number of copies I have is dwindling, so I don't know if I'll sign another contract with that publishing company once they run out or not. So I don't know. I just have to decide on that. But my summer's been going good here in Italy. We just got back. We went down to Savoy Beach Club. It's about 68 miles south of here. Just spent the whole weekend on the beach. It was great fun. I really enjoyed it. A little bit sunburned, not bad. But hey, when you spend all day on the beach, it's great fun. And it was interesting because Lloyd, of course, the Italians love Lloyd because of his blonde hair and his blue eyes and everything, and it's kind of funny. But we went and ate at a Tre Olive restaurant, and it's a fancy restaurant, and they have we had 18 courses. It was quite funny. But Lloyd tried almost every single one. I was pretty amazed that he did that. And he tried new things, and he found out they like new things. So that's kind of fun. But Lynn, with that, first of all, I want to thank you for getting Chris scheduled for the show. I appreciate that very much. But tell us, audience, what you've been up to for the month of August.
So today, it's Labor Day weekend, right? And so I literally just came back from the beach. There's a beach here in Northeast Florida called Huguenot, and you can actually drive onto it. So me, my sister, and my brother-in-law, we all took our Jeeps out to the beach, and we hung out there. So you could probably see like a little tan line around my eyes from the sunglasses. So I'm definitely sun-kissed today. And now I'm back up in Kingsland, Georgia, my sister's, and I'm in her closet office doing the podcast. But other than that, like in August, I went to so many different niche events. So I want to say like raves, like pool parties. And a lot of times it's crazy because I don't realize that I'm sitting amongst a bunch of veterans until somebody brings it up, or we just start talking, or people see like some of the tattoos. Like I got your 6 tattoo. And then so we bring that up. And that's how I met Chris, was at a pool party at a rave. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, and then just getting to talking and stuff like that. And I've actually met so many people just getting out there, just just going out there and not afraid to talk to people.
Yeah.
Definitely helps a lot. Networking. um but with that also, I want to say that I am getting back into the groove of things. I'm back on social media. I am back with Irreverent Warriors, and I've been meeting up with my people. So um so if you haven't gotten to it, done an event yet, I highly suggest that if you're watching or if you're listening to this, what we do is we bring veterans together, using humor and camaraderie to improve mental health and prevent veteran suicide. So definitely September is a kickoff start for what we call race season. So if
Yeah.
you're a runner, right, September, like, it starts kind of
Mhm.
cooling down a little bit from the summer. So race season is kicked off. We're doing the hikes. I know in September, if you go online, you'll see that September 14th, Virginia Beach is hosting an Irreverent Warriors hike. And I think also in I think Greenwich, North Carolina, I want to say, is doing a hike as well. I think it's on the 28th. But if you just go on irreverentwarriors.com, you'll see all of that stuff on there. So I'm super excited to be back. I'm excited to be here on season 4 with you on Mental Health Warrior. So yeah.
Well, I came up with a theme this year. It's be a warrior. Because I think we're all going to need it going into this election season. Because I think it's going to be straight up crazy with everything going on in the world today. And like I've always said, hey, let's watch ourselves. But hey, did you see what happened in Turkey with the 2 Navy sailors
No, what happened?
from the USS Wasp? Is that right? I think it's Wasp. They got kidnapped
Are
in
you
Turkey.
serious? See, I haven't been watching the news, and I haven't really been
Yeah, yeah.
scrolling on social
I just
media.
saw that today where
That's
it
wild.
was it was on X. So they're reporting. First, they reported that they just came up and tried to put a bag over a guy's head, one of the sailors' heads, and then his buddy intervened, and then they wind up. It posted again that they wind up kidnapping him.
In Turkey, you said?
Yeah,
So I want to say that's probably like a port call.
yeah. I think it
Like
was. Yeah, must have
they
been.
were just there
It
and
just
just
arrived
like
on
missing.
Sunday.
Wow.
And I'm not, are
Definitely
they
be
part of the
careful.
second fleet or sixth fleet? I'm not too for sure.
I don't remember the fleets. I've been out for that long.
Yeah. But yeah,
But
it
yeah,
popped
it's
up
definitely
on.
over there, probably by the Mediterranean, or however the ships get there through to Turkey. But I did not hear that. For my own mental health, I haven't been scrolling on social media, and I haven't been watching the news. So
Yeah.
um and I think, like, for me, that wait, oh, what's going on? Oh,
Yeah, there's a
your
video
chat
of it
just came
out
up.
there on X when they were trying to get him and then their
Yeah.
buddy. And apparently, it's a young group in there.
Oh,
So
15 assailants have been detained over the incident. Oh, okay.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so a nationalist Turkish youth group on Monday assaulted 2
Yeah.
soldiers in Western Turkey, according to local government and U.S. embassy in Ankara. 15 assailants have been detained over the incident. I'm pretty sure Turkey's not going to tolerate that because they get a butt ton of money
Yeah,
for it.
because that's a national
What's
incident.
their calls there? But it brings up a good point. No matter where you're at in the world, you have to kind of know your area and kind of watch your back and just be mindful and be smart of what's going on and it goes a long ways in just knowing you don't have to be paranoid about it, but just knowing what's around you and
I
seeing
mean,
what's coming attention.
it's called having situational awareness, right? Just being
Yeah.
aware of your surroundings and stuff. And like sometimes you might get little hints like, oh, this isn't right. Like, what is this guy doing over here? What's this guy doing over here? Sometimes you get that feeling, but then I think a lot of times, like, things like this just happen.
Yes.
Like, what could
Well,
have
when
been
you
done to
watch the
prevent this?
video, it kind of looks like they're goofing around, but I guess they really wasn't goofing around with him. So I think once his friend figured out they wasn't goofing, he tried to jump in. But I mean, there was just too many of them. But I mean, it sounds like
Yeah.
they've squashed it pretty big, and it sounds like the sailors have been recovered. So that's good news. But it's and same thing within London. All the stabbings going on in London and stuff. You just of course I hear about that over here in Italy and everything. You just have to be mindful of your surroundings and what's going on, because no matter where you're at, there's always bad people up to nefarious things. But I've been watching. This is funny. So during the Olympics, we were in Paris this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so a group of American engineers. I don't know if you probably haven't heard this on social media, right? Had taken like wallets and purses and then rigged them up, and like one of them would electrical shock the person after and then so they would purposely let the pickpocketers pickpocket them, and they were testing out these different devices. So one of them, finally the police had to tell the Americans quit doing it because they were getting so many of these guys put in the hospital from these electrical shocks, messing with them. And then another one had developed this quick dry cement. And so when they stuck their hand in her bag, it locked their hand in the bag and it released the water, and then it cemented their hand inside the bag.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm sure like there's reels or TikToks about it. That is hilarious.
So they've actually so then the pickpocketers quit targeting Americans because this was going on. So they had actually slowed it down. They started targeting, soft targets, people from Britain or Canada or whatever. So then these Americans started disguising themselves as, different from different things.
That's awesome. I wish we had a clip.
I guess in some cases they started working with the police, and testing out these different ways to kind of, get the pickpocketers. When you're in Rome and different places, you got to be, mindful of the pickpocketers. But hey, it's easy to do. You don't have your purse on your side; you have it on your front, or don't even carry a purse.
Well, that's quick justice. Like obviously they got what was coming for them. They thought they were going to get away with it, and now they're getting to the hospital. Like, okay, like you shouldn't have been trying to pickpocket in the first place.
Yeah, yes. So they let a little bag, but it's like while the Olympics was going on, they pickpocketed that guy from Texas, and he threw that kid down the steps, and they kind of quit targeting because the Americans started fighting back, when they would steal their stuff. So it's always
well, you don't mess with Texas, number one.
I know, right? That was their first mistake, and the guy was like, I don't know, 6'4" or something like that.
Yeah.
So he wasn't gonna tolerate it. So that was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
But it is it's Suicide Prevention Month. Of course, every month is suicide prevention. I know that I don't know if ideations or things go up a lot. In the month of September, but I think it's just important to bring awareness. That's what we do here at the Mental Health Warrior. And, just like Lynn and I, we've taken the month of August off. We took a break from social media. If you notice, my posts were way down. I hardly posted anything. I posted some stuff, about going on vacation and making reels and stuff like that. But I took a break from it. And I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in stuff, Lynn, and you know how that is, and you forget to take a break. And then you don't realize how wore down mentally you're getting and how that affects you. And then, you just have to know it's okay to step away. The news happens 24/7. The weather happens 24/7. And just take a break for yourself. Just put it down and get away from it. And it's one for your kids, too.
I really appreciate the real friends that I do have that checked on me when I wasn't really present on social media, because most people who know me knows that I like to post. I like to shit post. I like to post funny things. I like to post things about my life and keep people updated. And then I kind of just sort of disappeared off social media, taking a break from there. And the friends that I do have, a lot of them checked on me. They would text me. They would send me messages on Messenger asking how I'm doing. So I really do appreciate those people who did that. It really does mean a lot. But I needed that social media break, especially for summer. I'm already busy, and I was traveling a lot, and I'm I just don't have time for all this, because then I'll find myself just scrolling endlessly and mindlessly, just scrolling for what? Taking up all my time. So I took that break. It was great. It was wonderful, but I'm back now. So
Well, and I just want to say, we're going to have a little bit different format, coming up on season 4. And I think really what I like to do is have the audience out there, the people watching, if there's a topic that you'd like for Lynn and I to talk about, throw it in the message comments. We'll be more than happy to talk about it on the next show. If you have an interesting story to tell and you'd like to come on the podcast, hey, please reach out to either Lynn or me, and we'll get you scheduled and get you on the podcast. It's super fun. And once you do it, I am going to schedule more podcasts at the restaurant, at Kenya restaurant here in Italy. And I'm kind of lining up some, getting my big group of Italian friends to come on. Because really, one thing I want to talk about is culture, and the culture is different, obviously, between America and Italy. And I just think that's important. A lot of people travel to Italy. A lot of course, service members live here. And, it's just, one thing I was talking about with my friend of mine, it's the, like when you go eat dinner, right? And so in Italy, unless you ask the waiter for something or make a gesture to him, he's not going to come around all the time asking if you want something. And I think a lot of times for Americans, they're like, well, what's going on? And first of all, when you eat in a restaurant in Italy, you pay for the table. And so, you're not rushed out of the restaurant. I mean, you rented that table for however long you're going to stay in that restaurant. It's not very much. It's €1 or €2. Sorry, to rent that table. And, Americans, they get in there so used to going to restaurants, right? And you eat fast and you leave, right? Or you go sit at the table, then you move to the bar. Where in Italy, you don't do that. You just sit there for however long you want. And the waiter's not going to come around and constantly ask you once you order your meals, do you need something? Do you want something? And so unless you gesture them, they're not going to do that. And even when it's time to pay your tab, and you need to tell them that you're ready to pay your tab, or they're not going to come around and ask, because you can sit at that table all night long if you want until they close.
Now in Italy, do they do tips? Do they accept tips? Is that rude, or is that
no? They do accept tips, but you have to be careful with tipping because it's not expected. I know normally Americans used to tip 20%, whatever. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times if you tip too much, they'll try to give it back to you.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
And so generally, if you go eat, if you tip, if you want to tip, I would say tip no more than €5 if your meal's over €100, or usually just, €2. They're very thankful for whatever tips you give them, but I'm not saying you don't have to, but it's not necessary to tip like you do in the States because it's not expected. But I normally tip, right around 10%, generally, especially if it's a restaurant that I frequently go to. But I don't exceed 10%. And then if my normal waiter isn't there or waitress, and then normally I just tip the normal, €2 or €3 or something like that over. So.
Well, that's interesting that over there you rent the table. Like, the only time I hear that concept is like if I'm renting a cabana or a VIP booth, right? Like at a club or like at a pool party or something like that, and then you rent it for $500, but then that goes towards your tab, and that's your minimum you have to spend. Yeah. And then they add on an extra 20%. Right. So that's the only time I think about renting a table. But yeah, here in America, like I was a waitress. I was in the service industry for a little bit. So I know like we're trying to turn over tables. We're checking on our people because that's how you get your tips, because you're being attentive to them and turn over the tables so that you can get more people and get more tips. So it's totally different.
It's not like that way. And some Americans, they get, a little bit upset by that. It's like, why isn't he coming? Why is he asking me? Why isn't this? And just understand that it's not because they're ignoring you. It's because unless you ask, they're not going to come around to bother you because it's family time. It's being with your friends. It's hanging out. It's all this other stuff. And so, for us, it's just a little bit different. So I just thought that I got to change the lights. They're glaring right in my eyes. There we go. That's better. I had to reset my studio up from being off, so I had to get it straightened back out. But
it's nice because I know in Mexico they encourage tips also. So at least where I've been to, like Tijuana, Ensenadas, Rosarito, Cancun, the Yucatan Peninsula, they're like, oh, tips are encouraged. So yeah. It's nice. It's like it's really cool to see like different countries who do accept it than those that don't. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but it's appreciated no matter what you tip. It's and so I think if it's good service and they were friendly, and one thing I've learned about Italy, living here for now almost a year, is you try to speak Italian, they appreciate that, and
Hmm.
they will reciprocate or politely correct you if you say a word incorrectly, which I do often, but I still practice it, so I'm getting better.
Nice.
I know a lot more than what I did a year ago, so that's good. I do lessons every day, or not every day. I do lessons once a week with an instructor, and then I practice every day of the week, except for when I'll go on vacation. Then I'm out in the middle with the population, so then I just try to speak it anyway. So, but it's interesting here too. When you go to the beach, and they have private beaches and public beaches, just like they do in all over the world.
Hmm.
Or on the private beaches, like we stayed at the Savoy Hotel in Pascale, Italy. Anyway, I'll look it up later. But anyway, so they had the Beach Club 93 there that was attached to the hotel. So you get on the van, and it's about 700 meters, and they drive you to the beach club. Well, then you get the 2 chairs and a little umbrella, and you're right on the beach. But you can literally leave all your bags, all your stuff on your chair or hanging up underneath the umbrella, and nobody will mess with it. You can leave and go up to the restaurant and not even be around your stuff, and come back, and nobody will mess with your stuff. You can leave your wallet, your cell phone, whatever. Nobody will mess with it. They
Well,
won't.
that's nice.
But if you go to a public beach, then it's different. Don't
Well,
don't
okay.
leave your
So,
stuff unattended,
yeah.
because it will disappear. But I think on the private beaches, because it's bad for business, people don't mess with your stuff. And I was nervous the first time I did that. I put my stuff underneath the chair and did all this other stuff. And then I looked around, and like nobody was doing it. They would just set their stuff down and go get in the beach and not worry about it, or go get a drink at the bar or whatever. And so it's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I've been to one place that was kind of like a Japan. So I have a friend who had like this photography equipment, and actually left a whole bag of it and his expensive camera on a train. And then wherever the destination he went to, he's like, "Oh, I left my camera on the train." So then later on that night, he catches the same exact train he was on, and the bag and his camera were in the same spot he left it.
Yeah.
But that was
That's
in
amazing.
public though, and that was in Japan. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I was of course, when I was in Korea a couple of years ago doing a speaking event, of course, you don't talk on the train, or you talk very low. But I didn't realize in Korea, and it may be in other places, that when you have your cell phone and you go to take a photo, the camera isn't silent. It makes a noise, so they know you're taking a photo. I don't know if that's a setting that they have on their phones in Korea or whatever, but you can't take a silent photo. It makes a clicking
really,
sound. Yeah. So somebody can't
that's
sneak photos.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been to Korea. I think I went in 2008, and I was in Busan, and I
Mhm.
remember traveling to Korea and like to these Asian countries, and they already had all these like wonderful technologies that
Yeah.
we didn't even have yet. Like they had like these big iPad thingies or Android tablets, and we didn't have that yet in the States.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of that. They already had it over there. So I remember they had advanced technology already when I went back in the 2000s.
Yeah, I think last time I was there was 2019, right before COVID. So it's been about 5 years. So I am doing a speaking event tomorrow for Korea. It's a virtual event. Of course, I was hoping to be able to go there. That would have been fun. I enjoyed last
For
time.
Korea?
It just didn't work. To Korea, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. In 2019, I went there and I did 16 events in 7 days.
Whoa.
So sometimes I would do 4 events a day, 5 events a day, which
Mhm.
completely mentally wiped me out. I'll never do that again.
Yeah.
But it was a good time. I'm just trying to help as many people as I can to get the word out there, to know, it's, just like what we're talking about today. We're talking about the fun we had on vacation, taking a break from social media. It's just important to know that, you have good days, you have bad days. Some days you have a lot of anxiety, some days you don't. Some days your PTSD is crippling, some days it isn't. And you just have to know how to go with the ebb and flow of life. And one thing I learned about Italians is they enjoy life. They have mental health issues here, though. Don't kid yourself. But for the most part, they really try to just, enjoy life. They don't make a lot of money. They don't have a lot of stuff. But some of them, but they do try to enjoy life. But they do have some of the mental health struggles that we have, and that's kind of why I'm kind of expanding my audience to the European audience. Why I'm here to try to help others too, because they do have the youth that are struggling here, and they do have the the mental health issues that we are seeing, same with our youth
Mhm.
back in America, and something with adults in the military, with the Italian military, with suicides and those things going on. And so, I'm just trying to spread the word to try to help everybody, no matter what country you live in, no matter where you live.
Good.
It's important. It's important to talk about. Now here, it's pretty taboo here.
Yeah, I was gonna say most countries they suppress it. It's taboo. You don't talk about your struggles.
Yeah,
They're like, oh, just suck it up. Like you got this. Oh, that's fake.
yeah,
Blah blah. Because I know my mom. She came from a different country, and when we would talk about like depression or anxiety or whatever, she's like, oh, that's fake. That's just in your head. Like that's not
yes.
real. You don't have to take medicine.
Hmm.
Or they just like don't believe in it because it's not talked about as much, and there's not a lot of education surrounding it. So.
Well, and of course they have socialized medicine here, which pros and cons to that. But I mean, if
Mhm.
you're having issues, it can take you a long time to get an appointment. And one of the things I've been doing here is, of course, I love the Ear Kick mental health app. I think it's a great app. Everybody should have it on your phone, whether you use it or not. Just have it there to have it. But I spread that word because it's okay to, sometimes you don't want to talk to people, and they have the AI Panda, which they've been way advanced than anybody else with AI. And it's funny how you can go in and rename the panda, but I mean, whether you're a child or whether you're an adult, it really does help you. And it's just nice to have that extra step there. But the videos and the other things they have on there for anxiety is pretty amazing. And it's free to download to use. There is a subscription that you can pay for, but there's no reason to pay for it. It works just fine without it. I've never paid for it. So if you're looking for a mental health app, please download Ear Kick. It's available on the App Store and on Samsung. So it will help you. And it's good for kids. I got friends of mine who one of her sons was kind of being bullied and picked on because of his basketball. And he renamed Panda Coach Panda. And Coach Panda put together a workout program for him and some other things. And
Really, that's cool.
yeah, because he came home and I guess he had wrote in it about these kids teasing him about his basketball. And then Coach Panda said something to the effect of, well, Michael Jordan was cut from his first basketball team. There's always going to be haters out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so what are we going to do tomorrow to make your basketball better? And is laid out a workout plan for him.
Yeah, I
And
know
so what he
I've tried the ear kick a couple times, and like however they programmed the AI was just to look at the positive outlooks, so and
Mhm.
then like to move forward and then come up with solutions. And
Yes.
so every time like I try to do like some emo stuff or depressed stuff in there, I'm like, why are you so positive? Like, it's just being positive. I don't want. I was like, you know what? I don't want this. I'm gonna call my girlfriend, and then we can
Yeah.
like resonate together. We can just like bitch about things together, and she could resonate with me. And then, yeah, as Panda, you need to be on my side. No, you need to be positive. These are the things that you can do. Maybe take some rest. Maybe meditate. Like Panda, why are you so positive?
That's
I
funny.
remember that. I was frustrated. I was like, ah. Yeah, it's a good app. It's
Yeah.
nothing but
So,
positivity.
and even then, it can make you laugh and carry on
Yeah.
with it. But it's one thing I like about it too is they track weather patterns and it tracks other things. And so, if you don't understand why you're kind of depressed at a certain time of year or whatever, it could just because the weather changed or the weather was different or more cloudy and what have you. And so it's pretty interesting. So it's just something, hey, free to go out and look at and see if you want to use it or not. But what do you do? I'm talking to the audience, to help you get through your bad times, to help you get through those rough areas. Lynn and I talk about it all the time. What we do, we work out, we volunteer out in the community. We do all kinds of things. I play video games. I was just playing a video game right now before I got on because I hadn't played all weekend because I've been gone. So I logged on to play a
Yeah.
little bit of Destiny. So what do you do to help with your mental health? Of course, I love working out. And when I can't work out, it kind of depresses me and it affects me mentally. So I just always try to find ways to do something, whether it's walking or, that's another thing, just to get up and change your environment. If you have a lot of anxiety, a lot of things bothering you and I talk about this, go walk into another room. Go do something different instead of sitting there constantly thinking about it, because that where that road goes. So why continue to go down it? And sometimes I think we forget that.
Yeah. I know that I've had one of my close friends struggling with a lot of like mental health issues and being suicidal. And thankfully, here in Florida, we have something called the Baker Act.
Hmm.
And my friend was like, I'm gonna go swimming in the ocean, and I'm never gonna come back. I'm just gonna keep swimming, blah blah blah. And I think you can own like Baker Act is when like it's an emergency act where a family member or a close person can enact it, and either the law enforcement or medical people can kind of restrain them and then take them to a mental health institution or hospital for at least 3 days to get evaluated.
Oh, nice.
So I actually I enacted it because I was like, okay, it's August. It's like the first day of school for my kids. It's the first day of soccer. Like I can't deal with this. Like I have things to deal on my own. Like thankfully, my friend reached out to me, and so I was able to do something about it. I was like, send me your location, blah blah. My friend was super 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 drunk, but we both had iPhones, so I was like, send me your location. So they send me the location, and I call the police. I was like, listen, like this person needs a lot of help. They've been talking about this for weeks, not or months, not just days, not just weeks, And then so she goes, okay, who are you to this person? I'm like, well, we're really, really, really close friends. We used to live together, blah, blah, blah. And so I sent the screenshots over of the conversation, and so they were able to get their phone, and they found them on the beach, drinking and drunk on the beach. Got their phone and like was able to like corroborate what I said. And they're like, okay, we're gonna take you to get help. So they go and get help, and that kind of like woke them up. They're like, okay, there's something wrong. Like let me like turn my life around. So from that point on, like I've never got another phone call. Like this person actually like was able to get out of their funk, kind of sober up, get a job. From that one phone call that I made.
Wow.
But yeah, I had to go through that. Now, unfortunately, like you can't save everybody.
No, you can't.
No, but a few weeks ago, I did lose somebody
Yeah.
to the 22, to suicide. And he was a Marine, and he was a great person. And his name is Seth. Um, and I just want to say rest in peace to Seth, and my condolences to his family and everybody around. I tried to reach out to him. We went camping like 2 years ago together, and I've reached out to him every now and then, but he deleted social media. So like you can't. I mean, no matter what, you can't save everybody, but just try to reach out to people, because September is Suicidal Awareness Month. So that was kind of a big loss that we had.
Well, and I think that's what makes it hard too, because you try to help as many people as you can, and there's some people who just unfortunately can't help because they don't want help, and there's some people sadly who are just hell bent on killing themselves, and sadly in the military, if you're a leader or if you're a junior leader and you have that person in your unit, the military is going to come ask you what you did wrong, and you didn't do anything wrong, and that goes for anybody out there who maybe you had somebody call you and your phone was on silent, or maybe you haven't talked to this person in years, and out of the blue they call you, you didn't answer the phone, and you find out they had completed suicide. And then don't allow that to affect your life for the rest of your life, because you don't know if that you were the last phone call. You don't know anything. And I've talked to college kids who have dealt with this quite a bit, where they're in the second, third year of college, and somebody they went to high school with, who they haven't talked to, calls their phone, and of course, their phone's on silent because they're in school, right? And the other person who's calling takes that as a sign that, okay, I need to go ahead and complete with what I'm doing, when in reality it's not. And I said this, last month, is if you have that one person you're going to call, right, Lynn? If you're the person that I'm going to call you if I'm having issues and problems, I'm going to have that talk with you now, So you know to put me down as an emergency contact. So if I do call you at 2 o'clock in the morning, your phone's gonna ring.
Right.
Because I'm in Italy, I put my phone on silence
And
because
do
half
not
my
disturb.
family's up while I'm sleeping. And so if you call me, chances are my phone's on silent or shut off completely. So if so, it's just important to have that conversation with them. Have that grown up conversation with that person to let them know that, hey, if I'm off in a bad way, is it okay? And vice versa, make you the emergency contact in the phone, so then it does ring
Right.
through. Now, most phones, if you call 3 times in a row, it'll ring. If you call, hang up, call, hang up, call, hang up, then it'll ring through.
Oh, not mine.
Even if it's,
If
yeah,
mine
so
is on do not disturb, I am not going to be disturbed unless you're on my emergency contacts.
yeah,
Then it'll go through. So
yeah,
yeah, but thankfully, like I don't really put my phone on do not disturb that much. Literally the other day, somebody called me at 2:30 in the morning, and I was dead asleep. I was asleep, woke me up from my sleep, and normally you wake me up from my sleep, I'm like grumpy. But then the person was like, "Oh, thank God you answered. You're the only one that answered at 2:30 in the morning." I was like, "Okay, what is it?" And they just wanted to talk, so I was like, "All right, we
yeah,
talked." So
yeah. Yeah, I've
yeah,
had those phone calls. I mean, I've talked people out of vehicles with guns. That somebody just reached out to me in the middle. I was getting ready to go to bed, and it happened. So you never know when that phone call is going to come
yeah,
in. But then it's also dealing with the mental stress and that goes along with if somebody, a family friend or a family member, if you lost somebody, whether it's to suicide or natural causes or a car wreck, and thank God Chris survived his car wreck, and we'll get him on. But you just never know when something's going to happen. And it's important to have different tools in your toolboxes. I talk about this all the time to deal with it, right? Whether it's something minor, whether it's something major, just what you went through, Memorial Day weekend this year, Lynn with the shooting at the campground, that was horribly sad and terrible. And so you just never know, but you have to learn how to deal with that, as it comes up. I mean, right now, kids are back in school.
hmm
That's a big transition for a lot of parents, kids in a different age, or, you got school supplies and other things that, fancy strap you. Maybe you spent a little bit too much money this summer. I know Veterans Trash Talk had a financial advisor on for a while that talked about how to better manage your money. And you go back and rewatch those episodes. I don't remember his name, but you could reach out to
yeah,
him
just him.
and get, yeah, and talk, because it's important. It's always good to try to set boundaries for you, whether it's the budget, whether it's working out, whether it's mental health, whatever it is in your life. You always need to try to keep that balance, because once things get out of balance, that's when things start to happen and things start to snowball. And so it's always good to try to keep that good balance in things. And I think now with everything going on, with inflation so high and money's getting tighter, and all the things going on, and of course being an election year and all the crazy stuff going on with that, it's really going to be important that we all just kind of look out for each other, because I think
Yeah.
I think October is going to be a crazy month. I may be wrong. Mark my prediction. I think something screwball is going to happen in October. Don't know what it
October
is,
is
but I
like
think something's
the
going to
month.
happen.
October is the month before elections, right? Because
Yeah,
elections in November.
yeah, the
Yeah.
first part of November. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that'll be interesting. So make sure you register to vote. Make sure you go out there, and however you vote, make sure you have done all the things you need to do in order to go out and vote, because this is going to be a very important election, I
Oh,
think, for the United States.
I've been getting texts like, because I lived in Texas, I've lived in Louisiana, I've lived in
Mhm.
Oklahoma, now I'm in Florida, right? And so I've been getting text messages from every state that I've registered in.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, what the heck? I don't even live in Houston anymore. Like,
Yeah.
why am I getting these text messages? Like, oh, do you want to vote for this person? Well, let me tell
Yeah.
you why. And like, I don't know if you guys are getting those, but I'm like, they're whole paragraphs. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
reading this essay, and I don't live there, so I'm not voting in that
Well,
state. I'm registered in Florida now, so.
right. Well, and for me, right, so I have my Italian number, right? And
hmm
then I have my American number, where my American number is disabled when I'm in Italy, obviously, unless I have to enable it, because I get charged $10 every time I enable it. So unless it's something important, I don't turn it on. But when I do turn it on, it's always political ads. Bip,
Oh
bip,
my
bip,
God,
bip, 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 bip.
nonstop.
That's all that loads. Like, I'll have 25, 30, 40, 50 of them.
And like when I registered to vote, I don't remember putting my phone number. I mean, because I know when I
Mhm.
register, it's always at the DMV. It's every
Yeah.
time whenever I get a state license, a driver's license. Oh, that's where it is, where I register at.
Oh, that reminds me. This is my it's going back to what I was talking about financial advising and stuff. So you guys know about the big data breach that happened. 1.3 billion people's identity was stolen.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't done it, make sure you go out to Equifax, TransUnion, Experian, and freeze your credit report. It's very important for you to do that because I've had things pop up on mine. I have Identity Guard. I've had Identity Guard for years because I was a long time ago. I was subject to identity theft, and that was a big mess. And so I paid for them for years, and they alerted me to this. And so I went in and froze all my credit reports. And TransUnion, it's free to do. If you don't have an account, just sign up for it. But also do it for your children. Because they're stealing everybody's social security numbers nowadays. So it's always good to protect yourself because you don't want to go through the stress of that, right? Because you've already had enough stress in your life. And let me tell you what, when you have identity stolen and you have to go back to all these three, the TransUnion, Experian, and, to go in and straighten out your credit once your credit's been stolen. Now, if you froze it and you've done things beforehand, it's a little bit easier. But for me, it was a mess. I got it all straightened out and they reversed everything and everything worked out. It was just a lot to do it and it took a while. But so it's very important. So if you have not gone out and froze your credit report, please go out there and freeze it. There was a big data breach. If you haven't heard about it, I think it's about a month ago. But yeah, make sure you go out to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And there's usually on the websites, when I did mine, there was a link and you can go out there and freeze your credit report. So if you haven't done that, please go out there and do it just to protect yourself, but also do your children too.
Yeah, it's important because I apparently just learned that you could put your kids on your loans, on your credit card, and on your cars to help build their credit before they turn 18. So yeah.
So let's get everybody protected. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is the kickoff for season 4. It's the year of the warrior. And thoughts and prayers are out to Chris and hope he gets a speedy recovery and we'll get him back on the show as soon as possible. Hey, Lynn, why don't you tell them about VTT and all the great t-shirts we have out there?
Okay, guys, if you haven't checked out our website, go on VeteranTrashTalk.com. We have that shirt that Cliff is wearing. We have all kinds of stuff on there. We have a button that's really cool. We have some hats. All our gear, our merch is up there. The Quit Being a Triggered Pansies are like one of our #1 sellers. Everyone loves that. They're like, where did you get that? Every time I wear one, and then I made stickers also with that Quit Being a Triggered Pansy. People are like, can I get a sticker? But either way, go on VeteranTrashTalk.com. You'll find all our merch. You'll find all our socials are about us and all of our podcasts on there.
Absolutely. And also with 10th Mountain Whiskey, you see up there, they're celebrating their 10th anniversary this year. Their bourbon is great. It's awesome. Every time, whether my wife or somebody goes back to the States, it comes back to Italy, I have them bootleg me in some 10th Mountain Whiskey. So I got quite a bit of it, but the Italians love it out here. And so I get together with my friends and pull it out and enjoy to drink it. So, hey, if you're looking to buy, they do mail to a lot of states. Do have the list. But like always, drink responsibly and know your limits. But with that, you see the QR code up there in the upper left. That's for Wreaths Across America. That's for their wreaths to ensure they get placed on all the veterans' tombstones that have passed. And it's just super easy. Donate $5. And like I said, mine's Arlington Cemetery. But once they oversell Arlington, obviously they push it out to all of the all of the veteran cemeteries across the nation. And so it's a really super great program. I'm really happy to be a part of it. And along with that, they replay my podcast at Fridays at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 10 p.m. Just like I said at the beginning, our show is super easy to find. You just download your favorite radio app, whether it's iHeartRadio app, TuneIn app, or Odyssey app, and search for Wreaths Across America Radio. And just like I said early on in the beginning, I've reduced the price of my book to $15.99. You order through my website, I will sign it and get it mailed out to you. I've sold a couple here in the last couple of days. And so get your signed copy of The Mental Health Warrior. It does cover the events of not only 9/11, but when I jumped in the water and saved the boaters that were part of the accident. But hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank everybody for the years of support. And I also want to thank, Lynn, thank you and all that you do. And for all the people out there that does stuff. But, this is Suicide Awareness Month. And like I always say, we are our brothers and sisters keepers out there. That's right. Lynn said, you got your 6. So please, if you're having issues and problems, and reach out. And if you had that one friend or family member who's going through some things, maybe shoot them an extra text or just see how they're doing and make sure they're doing okay. Because we want anybody here tomorrow. Even if you don't think you are, you're important to somebody and they want you here tomorrow. So give them that opportunity to help them. And you guys have a great and wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.